That's what we're talking about here. All right. Let's have this conversation going. And DeMar DeRozan, who is somebody that we haven't really talked about too much, just as far as this Doug Christie version of the Sacramento Kings. And DeMar DeRozan, I saw this. This is from Stat Mamba. DeMar DeRozan has made the most clutch shots in the NBA over the last decade. Let that sit for a second. DeMar DeRozan has made the most clutch shots in the NBA over the last decade. And we know what is categorized as clutch is under a certain minute mark, and the score has to be a certain differential. DeMar DeRozan, the most clutch shots in the NBA over the last decade. DeMar DeRozan has been really, really hard to diagnose DeMar DeRozan on the Sacramento Kings, because there are times where he looks like the best scorer on the Kings, right? He looks like somebody that the Kings are going to need to score at a high level in order to win basketball games. But then you do look up, sometimes that basketball game was lost, but DeMar had 25, DeMar had 22, DeMar had a lot of points. So how do you best utilize DeMar DeRozan? There was that small stretch before things went completely south for the Sacramento Kings under Mike Brown, where they were running that play over and over again. I think it was another depleted win that they got, where DeMar DeRozan was running along the baseline, or he would go to the free throw line, he would get the ball, and he would react very, very quickly. And they ran that ad nauseum for a couple games, and then it just kind of fizzled out. But that was working a little bit, and it was basically the option, as if DeMar was the quarterback, and he could pass out of it, he could give it to Keegan, he could shoot out of it, he could drive then kick. So what I've diagnosed with DeMar DeRozan so far is that whatever it's going to be, just go quickly. Just go quickly. There have been too many times where DeMar DeRozan, you get into that dribble, pump fake. When I see the pump fake thing, it just makes me think that they have lost their sauce in the offense. That feels like a last-ditch effort to get a shot up. And sometimes DeMar will make it. Sometimes DeMar will get to the line. But that is not something that this many games in, with 40 whatever games left to go, that I like seeing. At first, I thought, oh, yeah, get him on an island, DeMar. That was the first 20 games. Then when I looked up and the Kings were the 12th seed, I said, you know what? I don't really want to see that anymore. And I have these numbers from the basketball index. I've been a complete basketball nerd this week. This is what happens when the Kings give us 3-4 days off. I turn into Kyle Ledbetter, just a complete basketball nerd. And this basketball index, the B-ball index, has the bottom 10 in overall shot quality, okay? Now, what they call the overall shot quality, these players essentially are taking the toughest shots. So let's go through this list for you right now. Number 10, the bucket getter himself, Cam Thomas, who's never seen the shot he doesn't like. Number 9, LaMelo Ball, who still thinks he's playing at Chino Hills, taking one-legged three-pointers, and dang it, sometimes they actually
Same boat as Cam Thomas, never seen a shot he didn't like.
Number 8, I think this is more of a usage thing, Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is number 8 on this list. I think he's the dude. So you're going to take shots that are tough. Number 7, Joel Embiid. He gets into that paint. He takes a lot of those mid-ranges. That makes sense as well. I don't know how Elfrid Payton even made this list. He played like 5 games in the NBA, but Elfrid Payton is number 6, and he had a good stint. What was that, on the Magic?
Pelicans, I think.
The Pelicans.
He played like 5 games for the Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
He had a 21 assist game earlier.
Insane. So pass, don't shoot, please, Elfrid Payton. Number 5, this guy, I hate to call it a joke because, it is about injury, but you never know when this guy's playing or not. Recently moved to the bench. Number 5, Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton at number 5, another mid-range master. Number 4, Jordan Clarkson. Again, a guy who have no clue what to do with his career. I'm going to skip over this number, and you know why I'm doing that. I'm going to skip over number 3. At number 2, Anthony Simons. Don't know what's going on in Portland? Just chuck it out there. Anthony, you're getting paid Why not? Number 1 on this list, a former favorite of the Sacramento Kings to acquire, Brandon Ingram, another mid-range monster. And at number 3 on this list, the bottom 10 in overall shot quality, Mr. DeMar DeRozan. These players are taking the toughest shots in the league based on the B-Ball Index's metrics. And, of course, what this is skewing to is mid-range jump shots. Most of these guys, you have Cade Cunningham, Chris Middleton, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, mid-range guys. So DeMar DeRozan is number 3 on the bottom 10 in overall shot quality. These players are taking the toughest shots. And you know what? I could see that. This is not a surprising stat to me at all. The Sabonis one yesterday wasn't surprising. It looks like teams go at Sabonis, and it looks like DeMar DeRozan is taking some tough shots. This does not surprise me at all, to be honest with you.
I mean, he does take tough shots. He does make tough shots, and to give a positive light for DeMar DeRozan, we've had so far that I can count, and I could be mistaken. I might miss a game or two. The main 2 games where DeMar DeRozan helped the Kings get to a victory, I've seen them both with my own eyes. At Phoenix, the overtime game, and both these games are overtime games.
Yeah.
At Phoenix, and the double overtime Monday night against Miami.
Right.
And for those that don't remember, you remember what he did here in Sacramento last season when he went 7 for 7 in the fourth quarter and just torched the Kings.
Yeah, and he was hitting threes too. He was hitting threes on that stretch. So that's not to say that we don't want, especially with De'Aaron Fox out, would you rather, I'm not going to put anybody's name on the street, but there are certain guys on the Kings right now, I'd rather DeMar DeRozan take a quote-unquote bad shot or a tough shot than X person, you can fill in whatever name you want to fill in, take an open shot.
Oh, most definitely. And what a lot of people, and you don't realize it until he's on your team, DeMar DeRozan is a willing and a very good passer as well. He will skip the ball more than he'll take a bad shot.
Yes. And Mike Brown at the time said he didn't realize how good of a passer DeMar DeRozan is until he ended up on the Kings. So it's not this is more of just something that I find interesting, because there are times throughout the game where I'm thinking, the offense kind of gets stuck in the mud a bit, and it just turns into a pump fest with DeMar DeRozan. Somebody on the text line saying when DeMar gets into his forced triple pumps. I mean, it is crazy sometimes, and that can be the first 2 quarters. And then third quarter, he comes out, goes 4 for 4.
Here's my thing as well that people have to realize. A lot of time DeMar DeRozan has to pump fake, whatnot, because the offense gets stagnant. People stop moving, and he can't find someone to skip the ball to.
Yeah,
it's a catch-22. If the players around him aren't moving, he can't find anybody. Do you want a 24-second violation?
Yeah. Or
would you rather have a bad shot than no shot at all?
Yeah, and a couple times Keon got thrown that grenade and he was able to make do with it, but that zone is still a problem. The Kings powered through, but let's not pretend like I wouldn't say they figured out the zone. I would say they powered through their issues with the zone. So
yeah, they pushed through that zone in the fourth quarter, because in that third quarter against Miami,
it was terrible.
They had no clue.
They terrible.
Couldn't figure it out. They couldn't get the ball to the middle to have someone kick out, distribute, or drive. They were stuck and wait, have we ever seen a zone defense at any level of basketball before in our life?
Now, shout out Tom Habistro. I would say in that situation, having De'Aaron Fox would have changed everything.
De'Aaron is a zone breaker.
Because De'Aaron has the ability to get into the zone, into the teeth of that defense so quickly, everybody collapses, and now you have a Kevin Huerter 3, a Keegan Murray 3, whatever it is. So let's ask the question just straight up. Do you feel like the DeMar DeRozan move has been a win so far? And we see a lot of good underdog movies coming in. I will read those off as well. 916-339-1140. Do you feel like the DeMar DeRozan move was a win? I heard Kyle Draper say something about this last week, and I want to bring that back to help the conversation. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch you.